Okay, so we're gonna create a portfolio website using Lovable. When you first sign on to Lovable, you're going to be entering this wizard where you are choosing a role. Uh, for your use case, I think the designer would most likely make sense. And then since you are the only person working on this website, then just choose solo. Once you click on that, you go into Lovable's main page, where on the top left corner you will see Lovable's navigation bar. You have a dashboard, search, projects. All of these are new and empty because you haven't created anything yet. So you want to now go to the middle where Lovable is kind of guiding you. You want to tell it your intention to create a website. Give it a role that you have, and do it in a plan mode first, because if you just tell it to do something right now, it will try to build a website without having all the details covered. So by clicking on plan mode, you can iterate with Lovable, go back and forth with ideas until you're satisfied for it to build your website. So now you want to put in that you are a photographer and you want to build a portfolio showcasing your photos and artwork. That is your intention, right? But to make it even more refined, you wanted to ask you clarifying questions so that it understands what your intentions are. So notice that once you enter that prompt, Lovable switches to another screen. It's going to start thinking and then give you a few quick questions. And this is kind of like where you start going back and forth to really write down the plan clearly so that it knows what you're trying to do. So at the bottom, you can see like it asks you what kind of photography and artwork do you want to create. And this is where you want to answer it with what you want to build. So like portraits and weddings, for example. As you go through this Q&A, you are essentially shaping the foundational blocks of the website. Like, what is the intention of this website? What is the look and feel of the website? And what ultimately do you want your visitors to do when they engage with your website? So after you're pretty much happy with all your selection, you want to click submit and watch as it generates that plan for you. You can see that in the middle of the page, Lovable is creating and writing the plan. You see where it's kind of blinking. It wrote it, and then now it pops up the plan to the right. So this plan tells you right at the very top, the goal is to build a very clean and minimal portfolio site for a portrait and wedding photographer that lets visitor browse work and inquire for bookings. And it breaks it down into sections and pages. There will be 3 pages. 1 is the home and gallery, 2 is portfolio, 3 is the contact and booking inquiry. And you see if within those sections, what is the layout going to look like, what is that page consist of. So these are the high level outline of what the site would be for your portfolio. And in the middle, you'll see like the technical approach, what sort of tech stack it's going to use, what images, back end, like these are the more technical things that you don't have to really look into. And finally, at the bottom, you will also see what is out of scope. And that keeps it so that you're agent that builds the website later will just focus on the first 3 things mentioned in the plan. And so once you're happy with the plan, you can click the approve button, and then Lovable is going to start building the page. And as you can see, the right says big things loading, and then that little animation. Eventually, once the site is built, you will see that page preview right there. And also you can actually click on the exploring existing source files and components that hover. This is basically, you can see what Lovable is doing. It's thinking for 9 seconds, and it's exploring, and you can scroll down and follow along on what it's doing. Each item that it's working on, you can expand it to see particularly what it's actually doing. And so as it's working, you pretty much can go get up and get a cup of coffee, or just do something else, and then come back to it later when it is all done. And so you can start seeing that it is beginning to create certain sections of your pages, like your contact page. It's giving some images generated through AI. They're not real people. And so one thing while it's building, right, you can also take a look at the changes on the top right corner. So this is kind of like your history. What has been changed in the files? Since this is like your first prompt, there's only one plan that got created, and that's the only change. And the timeline is the set of actions that your agent has done. And so you can actually go and take a look at every single item there as well. Of course, now you're back to the latest. That area I just talked about now became your preview of the page that is making. You can see that this is your home page. You select at work from the photos, and then you can see the full portfolio by navigating to it. As you navigate through each page, you can see how it is being built. The contact page you're on right now just has a very simple name, email, session type, event that the visitor can then leave their lead for you. As you know that this is still not done because it's going to and trying to do its own QA. It needs to ensure that the things it built, all the links that I've made are not broken, ensuring that the contact form works. Right, this is like it checking its own work. And so while it finished most of this testing and finalizing it, you basically see a more completed web page. You have a view portfolio, you book a session. Notice that there's a little bug there on that button where it says book a session. The specific text is so light that it is hiding with that button. So the one thing you can do with Lovable is on that bottom left, you can click on the selector and you can select it on the thing, but unfortunately, as you can see, that you are out of free credits today, and because you're out of free credits, there's nothing, you can't talk to it unless you pay for more money. But at with one prompt, one set of Q&A, you basically generated a web page with 3 separate pages, and I would say it's in like the span of what, 20 or so minutes. Everything's all set up. So that's how quick and easy you can spin up a website these days. Notice that Lovable did say that these photos are AI generated, so you probably will not get copyrighted for them. But the other thing you want to do now is you want to publish the page. And so to do that, you want to go to the top right corner, click on that icon to publish, clicking on the public URL, continue, and that's just more default placeholders. You can press continue again and click publish. It's going to do a quick security scan, and then once that is done, it will start putting it into a web page URL that you can go and access outside of Lovable. Lovable hosts these pages for free until I don't know when, but for the first prototype and how you are planning to iterate on it, I think that is plenty. And once it's published, there is your URL, frame-my-art-20.lovable.app, and clicking on it will just load that specific page. You can see on the desktop, the hero banner is very wide. The layout are 3 portraits. And that's it. There's your web page with a known bug. And of course, you want to definitely check this out on your phone too later and see how that looks like.